a very surprising announcement just weeks ahead of the general elections.
Well, indeed, surprising it is. Surprising it is. Maybe with the passage of time, maybe in the coming days, in a day or two, either Mr. Goel clarifies about the sudden step that he has taken, or the government, puts out some reasoning as to why Mr. Goel chose to step down. So the fact of the matter currently is that because we are in the poll season, because we are amid such hectic, all-round poll preparedness, and EC being the complete supervisor of that, EC being the complete independent third-party monitor of that under the scheme of constitution, this becomes surprising, and many may describe it as shocking as well. So we don't know, but at this point in time, when you and I speak, we only have the Gazette notification from the side of the President, from the Rashtrapati Bhavan, accepting Mr. Goel's resignation. Now, what reasons has he forwarded to the government? If at all any reasons have been forwarded, we are certainly not privy to at this point in time. And maybe once we get to know those reasons, this doesn't appear to be so sudden or so shocking. However, in the past, as I said, that newspapers today itself are detailing out the situations where in the past less than full strength of the election commission. Remember, the strength of the election commission has undergone change at various points in time in history. Less than the full strength of the election commission has conducted the entire passage of the general election. So at that point in time, they were discussing one vacancy. This vacancy came out in the form of Mr. Pandey retiring last month from the poll body. And that happened only in the latter part of the latter part of the last month. Now, suddenly, you have a situation where Mr. Rajiv Kumar, former member of the IAS, like Mr. Pandey and like Mr. Goel, who has resigned today, is now left only at the helm of the affairs, supervising the entire poll process. Now, whether it continues or whether government will be quickly able to call the meeting of the poll panel. Even at this point in time, Rajiv and I are not even privy to the fact that whether government has actually called that meeting. Because remember, LOP now, for the amended CEC Emolument and Appointments Act that the government got passed in the last session of the Parliament, is a member of that poll panel. So we are not sure whether LOP Rajiv would be able to make for that meeting. Because remember, hectic campaigning is now on for the Lok Sabha polls. So the fact remains that
right, Nikunj, so whoever will get appointed now, this will be the first appointment post this new law, which where the election commissions are appointed by a majority vote of the Prime Minister and one of the government ministers.
Absolutely. It will be the first appointment. LOP would also be for the first time party to it, because remember earlier it was completely government's prerogative, which got changed, and Supreme Court also got LOP included, the Act included the LOP, and therefore now it will be for the first time that the leader of opposition would be member, and therefore, as I said, it is yet to be seen whether quickly that meeting can be called, quickly these appointments can be made, or Mr. Rajiv Kumar is the sole person going ahead and conducting the general elections 2024. So, sudden developments for sure. I will stop short of calling them dramatic, but sudden developments for sure. And in coming days, as far as the independent constitutional monitor of the general elections are concerned, the Election Commission of India, that space would be interesting to watch out for.
All right, Nikunj, thanks so much for joining us. With that, already some reactions are coming in. Trinamool Congress's Saket Gokhale also putting a post out saying this is very, very concerning, coming just ahead of elections. And moving on to more news on the Election Commission. In fact, the Election Commission is going to be visiting Jammu and Kashmir next week from Monday to Wednesday to assess when polls can be held in the Union Territory and whether simultaneous elections are possible along with the general elections. Remember, the date for the Lok Sabha elections are likely now to be revealed immediately after the Election Commission team will return. And the Commission's visit to Jammu and Kashmir comes after the Supreme Court had directed it to hold the elections in the Union Territory by September. So now this assessment will be done. Well, let's go across to Sunil Prabhu now for more. And Sunil, dramatic developments on the Election Commission front. But before that, the news was that the team is going to be going next week to assess the situation in Jammu and Kashmir.
That's right, Gargi. In fact, even Election Commission officials are completely surprised at the developments. This is really dramatic. This is, in fact, shocking, to say the least, because as you're well aware, Mr. Arun Goel was appointed as the election commissioner on the same day he resigned as an IS officer. In fact, that was one of the criticisms when the full Supreme Court bench was hearing this entire matter. And on that day itself, they said, how can Mr. Arun Goel resign and then be appointed as the election commissioner all in 24 hours? But having said that, the election commission is expected now, and I'm really we'll have to wait and see whether the chief election commissioner will go ahead with this visit 11th to the 13th. That is the schedule that they have. Hopefully they will keep it going, because there have been instances where the last, of course, was the TN session time, when the government attempted to club his will and brought in MS Gill and then GVG Krishnamurthy. Mr. Mittal will go ahead with the plan and then finish it off on the 13th, and then hopefully the country will know on the 14th or 15th when elections will be announced. Of course, they have also got a top security briefing. Some were saying that Mr. Goel's health was not well for the last 2 days, but everybody is completely surprised. So we'll have to wait and watch and see whether they go ahead with the J&K visit, which is scheduled from the 11th to the 13th. And then, of course, the date for announcement of elections for from the 14th to the 15th. So a lot of points that will take place. Just to inform our viewers, the process for appointment of the chief election commissioner or election commissioners was earlier completely with the government. Then a 5-judge Supreme Court bench decided that it should be the Chief Justice of India, the Prime Minister, and the leader of the single largest party in opposition, or the leader of opposition, whichever it is available. That has now been replicated with an amendment in Parliament to allow the the election commissioners to be appointed by a panel of the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, as well as, of course, a Minister of the Prime Minister, any cabinet minister, and the leader of the single largest party, replacing the Chief Justice of India. These developments come also in the backdrop of a full constitutional bench, which will hear on Monday morning the 5, very, very important aspects of the electoral bonds case. There is a contempt petition, and there is a request from the State Bank of India to postpone. Technically, on the 13th of March, the Election Commission was to publicize that entire list. So these are dramatic developments. The world is watching. This is a large democratic exercise, India's largest election, and really on the anvil, Mr. Arun Goel, career officer, has been the DDA vice chairman, secretary to Government of India, a tough man, and now deciding to resign. We'll have to wait for that official reason to be given, but definitely everybody is wondering about this surprise decision.